consecutive day here in the city of brotherly love, and unfortunately the forecast is indeed for no relief, and that's been the problem of late for the Phillies as well.
The defense for the Philadelphia Phillies as they take the field. Milt Thompson, the left fielder. Lenny Dykstra in center field. Jim Eisenreich, the right fielder. Dave Hollins will be the third baseman this afternoon. Kevin Stocker, the shortstop, his third major league game. Mickey Morandini at second base. John Kruk, an all-star starter. He's at first, and another all-star starter is Darren Dalton behind the plate. Tommy Green is 10-2 this year. However, he has won 11 straight games at home. Takes him back into late August of last year since he lost a game here at Veterans Stadium. And what a pitching matchup. Green 11-0 at home, and John Burkett with the best road record in the major leagues with a 9-1 record. So this should be unlike the first two games of this series, a series or two games in which the Giants scored 28 runs on 43 hits. Should be a pretty good pitching matchup today.
Tommy Green, one of those who certainly could have been a member of the National League All-Star team, but is not. And he has the task of ending the Phillies slide here this afternoon. After a terrific start, as Tim noted, Green had the highest earned run average among National League starters in the month of June, nearly 7 earned runs per 9 innings.
I think what the offense tries to do on a day like today, it is so hot and it doesn't take a lot of energy to take a pitch. So I think if you're on the offenses of both clubs, then taking a pitch, making a pitcher throw a strike would be the proper way to approach at least the first time through the order.
Darren Lewis ready to get this one started at 263. A homer and 26 runs batted in. Green's first pitch, a 58-footer for ball one. Lewis, then Scarsoni and Will Clark in the top of the first.
Pretty impressive right there. Darren Lewis has not only done the job offensively, but defensively. He has never made an error in the major leagues. He holds the all-time record for games without an error by an outfielder.
And yesterday, when we asked Dusty Baker about the most pleasant surprises for the Giants this year, he said Lewis batting leadoff was the first thing that came to his mind. What a good job he has done in that role. 2 balls and a strike. That is the record of which Tim was speaking. Two balls and 2 strikes. Tommy Green, back in 1990, was known as the other guy in the trade that brought Dale Murphy from Atlanta to Philadelphia. That's low and away, and the count is full.
5 players involved in that trade, and he has turned out to be the most valuable.
Now the payoff pitch. It's popped up. Truck battling the sun in foul ground. 1 out. Giants, the best hitting team in Major League Baseball this year. In terms of batting average, only the Detroit Tigers and the Philadelphia Phillies have scored more runs.
Also lead the National League in slugging average and home runs with 89.
Steve Scarsoni looks at ball 1 low and away. Scarsoni just up from the minors, and he has done extraordinarily well. He had 4 hits last night and going 4 for 7. He drove in 3 runs at his first major league homer last night. He's ahead in the count here, 2-0. And it seems that the Giants are taking the approach of which you were speaking to the plate, being very patient and making Tommy Green work to throw strikes.
The guys at the top of the order in the first inning can serve a purpose even if they don't get on base. If they take a lot of pitches, even if they make an out, then they give the rest of the lineup a chance to look at the pitcher, see him throw a lot of pitches, coupled with the fact that on a hot day like today, you wear him down.
3-1 now. Pulled sharply foul past Wendell Kim in the third base coach's box.
Scarsoni originally with the Philadelphia Phillies. He was dealt to the Baltimore Orioles for Juan Bell. Bell playing shortstop for a time this year with the Phillies. And then this spring, he came to the Giants for left-handed hitting outfielder Mark Leonard.
Fastball up and in. Scarsoni draws a walk on the 3-2 pitch. He's the first base runner of the ball game with one out in the top of the first. And that brings up Will Clark, hitting .281, 7 homers, 46 runs batted in. Out of play. In the month of July, Will Clark has been the best hitter in the National League, and there are 3 Giants atop that list. His teammate Kurt Manwaring is second. Willie McGee, who was not in the lineup today, third. Scarsoni at first, held on by Kruk. In the dirt, it gets away from Dalton, and Scarsoni moves up.
Darren Dalton has had 5 knee operations. That's right, 5. And here he is, the starting catcher on the All-Star team. And one of probably his only problem as a player is the inability to get down in proper catching position to block a ball in the dirt. That ball, however, hit the plate. That's a tough chance for anybody. But Darren, because of his bad knees, really has a difficult time getting down in proper position.
The 1-1 pitch is a called strike.
Thing about the Giants, they are Giants early. They are a terrific early part of the ball game type of team. They've outscored their opponents 76-35 in the first inning. And look at Will Clark in the first inning. .389 batter.
And Dusty Baker says that first inning success has been another key for his team. They've been particularly proficient at that lately. Over the last 34 games, San Francisco has outscored the opposition in the first inning 41-6. They got 4 runs in the first inning and never looked back. Jumped off to a 13-0 lead on their way to a 15-8 victory.
Yeah, we talked about it in the opening. 61 runs in the last 6 games, and that includes a shutout by a rookie in Montreal the other night.
Kurt Reeder shut them out. Dusty Baker said that was the most impressive debut he has ever seen by a pitcher in the major leagues. Green has faced 3 batters and has gone to a full count with all 3. To left field and Milt Thompson. 2 outs, and Scarsoni back to second. There has to be added pressure on Tommy Green today. His team is struggling at the moment, and it's been an unbelievable week, starting with that doubleheader a week ago last night that went till 4:40 a.m. Saturday. Then they had a 20-inning game on Wednesday against the Dodgers. The bullpen is tremendously overworked, and they need a lengthy effort from Green today.
That's why in the first game of this series, Danny Jackson had to be left in by Jim Fregosi for the Giants to pick up 11 runs against Jackson. Jim hated to do it, but because of the weak bullpen, or the weakness of the bullpen, he had to do it. And this is no surprise right here. He leads the majors in intentional walks for a very good reason. Barry Bonds.
That'll put runners at first and second when they complete the intentional walk, and will bring Dave Martinez to the plate.
That is his 23rd intentional walk of the year, and that leads everybody. He leads the National League in 6 offensive departments: home runs, RBIs, extra base hits, total bases, and slugging percentage, and he's in the top 5 and a few others. He is having a remarkable year, and nobody's talking about that $43 million anymore, unless they say he's underpaid.
That's right. 6 years, $43 million plus for Barry Bonds, and at the moment worth every penny. Dave Martinez in the lineup in right field with Willie McGee ailing. First pitch to him, a ball. Cecil Fielder has his 77th RBI to lead the majors with a double in the top of the first. Detroit leads Kansas City 1-0. Despite that long losing spell for Detroit, the Tigers only a game and a half behind the reeling Blue Jays in the American League East entering today's action. Good fastball by Green. Martinez couldn't catch up with it. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Good fastball right there from Tommy Green. His best pitch is his curveball. He throws in the high 80s. He has had problems with his control throughout his career. As a matter of fact, when he pitched the no-hitter a couple of years ago against Montreal, he walked 7 in the no-hitter.
He's ahead of Martinez, a ball and 2 strikes. Green's been around a while. He broke into the majors in 1989 with Atlanta, but he still is just 26 years old, turned 26 in April. He's 6'5", 219 pounds. Two men on and 2 outs, no score in the top of the first here in Philadelphia. Off-speed pitch missed high. 2-2 on Dave Martinez, ordinarily a reserve outfielder for the Giants. And a big part of the success of each of these teams, the bench play, is both Dusty Baker and Jim Fregosi said yesterday, you cannot win in the National League without a productive bench. Another full count, the 4th, to 5 batters in the inning for Green, and the only hitter with which he did not go to a full count was Barry Bonds, who was intentionally walked. Runners going, it's ball 4. 3rd walk of the inning, 2nd unintentional walk thrown by Green, who has now thrown 28 pitches for Jim Fregosi here in the first. And Darren Daulton is out at the mound.
Darren Daulton, most recently in the Philadelphia Inquirer, the morning paper here in Philadelphia, came down pretty hard on Tommy Green and Curt Schilling. And both responded very well. They said a guy like Darren Daulton gets on you for having subpar performances. Well, you listen. Darren Daulton is one of the, not only the real leaders on this ball club, he is one of the real leaders on any club in the major leagues.
6th batter of the first inning is Royce Clayton. The Giants have loaded the bases without a hit. Clayton has hit 7th most of the year. It has 44 runs batted in. Dusty Baker says he doesn't want a top-heavy lineup. You look around baseball, you see lineups that are outstanding 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, but then it's a breeze for the pitcher at the bottom third of the order. Not so of the Giants. Clayton, a good man, batting 7th, can hit and run, makes contact, and as we've seen with 44 runs batted in, can drive in runs. And he's pretty good with the bases full as well. Chance for the Giants to jump off to yet another first inning lead. One ball and 2 strikes on Royce Clayton. Steve Scarsoni is the runner at third. Barry Bonds at second. And Dave Martinez at first. With 2 outs, no score in the top of the first. Tommy Green got himself into the jam. Now he's trying to get himself out of it. The 1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lenny Dykstra will lead off the 5th for Philadelphia. Tim asked him about not making the All-Star team.
I've done my part here from what they've asked me, and I'm not going to let it affect the way I play or the way I approach this game, because I know how important I am to this ball club, and I would be cheating the rest of them in there if I did that.
Do you feel like you've been cheated?
Well, I do. I mean, I think it's fair to say that I have.
But he did not, we should point out, blame Bobby Cox.
That's right.
The Atlanta manager who will be the skipper of the National League All-Star team. You blame the system, and you've said many times over the years that it's ridiculous that the All-Star rosters remain at just 28 players.
They were set at 28 in 1969. There have been 2 expansions since then, and common sense should dictate, since every team has to be represented, that more spots should be available. And why baseball is so long and taking so long in remedying that situation is beyond me.
It's not exactly the toughest problem to solve either.
No.
As you saw with the graphic, Dykstra is on a prolific run scoring pace. He has scored a run today. He walked leading off the first, stole second, and scored on a triple by John Kruk. Two balls and a strike. Dykstra, Morandini, and Kruk, the top of the order against Burkett. That's his nickname, Nails. Just inside. 3-1. And the fans certainly agree with Lenny that he's been cheated, although there are a number of players who are deserving of being in the All-Star game and won't be. I think Greg Jeffries, of all the players in Major League Baseball, is the most notable snub. But it really is impossible with the rosters of 28, with as many teams as there are now, to put everybody who is deserving on the squad. How about Kevin Mitchell, hitting .356 with 15 homers? And he was injured for a lot of the year, almost all of the year. Dykstra walks for the second time. Burkett has only walked 2, but both have gone to Lenny Dykstra.
And I know Cito Gaston will come under criticism and under fire probably Monday for taking 7 Blue Jays, while no other team in the American League had more than 2 representatives. But you know, if I were managing that club, if we'd won the World Championship the year before, I'd do the same thing. If the system allows you to take things, you know, all in the guise of fairness, I mean, the guys that he are taking are great players having good years.
And you have to live with those guys the rest of the year.
That's right.
Do you want Paul Molitor upset with you because you didn't take him to the All-Star game?
You got it, baby.
Or the case of Bobby Cox. Do you want John Smoltz or Steve Avery upset with you?
Bobby Cox has picked and selected 5 players from the Atlanta Braves.
And that's not to say that any of those players we just named aren't worthy of being all-stars, because they all are. But you can make the argument perhaps that they're not as worthy as some of those who were bypassed.
We're looking at a guy right here who could very well be the National League starter on Tuesday night, John Burkett. He has the best record in baseball, 13-2. And look at his walks per 9 innings. Entering the game with only 20 walks, he's walked Lenny Dykstra twice today.
With a win today, Burkett would match his career high for wins in a season. He went 14-7 in 1990. Dusty Baker on his way to the mound.
And nobody's warming up for the Giants, so you would have to assume that Dusty Baker, you see the Giant bullpen is quiet, so Baker may be out there either to slow him down or to ask if there is an injury problem or something like that, or maybe to tell him, don't worry about Len Dykstra at first base and his speed, just work on the hitter.
Burkett has thrown 78 pitches now. He walked Dykstra and has gone to 2-0 on Morandini. 3-3 the score. The lead man on for Philadelphia in the 5th. Out of play and left. Early in the year, the Giants bullpen was overused. Dusty Baker was criticized for using the members of the bullpen too frequently. But Dusty said last night, lately the bullpen guys haven't been getting enough work. As a result, he used Rod Beck as closer in the 13-2 game here on Thursday night. He used Mike Jackson, the ace setup man, last night in the 15-8 game. That's toward the corner for Morandini, and is a foul ball. Not by much.
Similar situation in the 4th inning with Kurt Manwaring on at first base. Paul Ferry's hit a ball down the left field line that just missed, and we're going to follow the bouncing ball again. This ball missed by about the same distance, about 6 inches.
And now it's 2-2 on Morandini with Kruk on deck. Dykstra stole his 23rd base of the year in the 1st inning. He's been successful on his last 15 tries. Still 2-2.
Talk about the run production of the San Francisco Giants. Well, look at their earned run average as a staff. Their bullpen comprised of guys like Mike Jackson, Rod Beck, Jeff Brantley, Kevin Rogers, Dave Burba, Dave Righetti. All have been doing superb jobs along with their starters.
Morandini to center, and it stays in the air for Lewis for the first out. Tim, the flip side of managers selecting their own players, if in doubt, perhaps to keep some of them happy, is that in this day and age of contracts with incentive clauses that reward being selected to the All-Star team, the manager who selects his own players winds up costing his organization money. In the case of the Blue Jays, they're going to pay out $250,000 in All-Star bonuses. The question that I would ask is, in this day and age, where the average salary is over $1 million, and when the average all-star caliber player is perhaps making twice that or more, shouldn't he be expected to make the all-star team for that kind of money?
Yeah. Yep.
If you're paying a guy $3 or $4 million and he's not on the all-star team, this money not very well spent. Kruk to right. A play at third. Safe. What a throw by Dave Martinez. It was just late. to get Lenny Dykstra.
Well, Dykstra tried to decoy Martinez. He tried to make him think he was going to stop at second, and then he picked up speed after he rounded second, and Martinez didn't fall for it. Had Dykstra run all out all the way, he makes it. Right here, there's a little slowing down of Dykstra, and Martinez came up and throwing like all good outfielders do, as though the runner's trying to take the extra base. Fine throw, and he might have been out. It was a very close play at third base. Tagged on the shoulder. Was his hand in there? The third base umpire Kerwin Danley says yes.
So he's at third is Dykstra, despite the throw by Martinez. On the single to right by Kruk, who's now 2 for 3. Here's Dave Hollins. Look out. Whoa. You knew it wasn't coming in here, didn't you?
I knew it was too low.
I didn't.
But believe me, if I think it's coming in the booth, I'll be gone, Jack. And you know that, too. Don't look for any help.
Just don't take the fan with you. Dave Hollins already failed to get a runner in from third with less than 2 outs. He came up in the first inning with Kruk at third and 1 out and popped up. And they left the man at third. Hollins 0 for 2 today and in the hole this time up. No balls and 2 strikes.
Look for Burkett to pitch Hollins inside in a situation like this. Dave Hollins not only can be pitched inside, you have to obviously make sure it's good, but last year he led the majors in being hit by a pitch. He was hit 19 times last year.
That's the record for a switch hitter.
Manwaring wanted that fastball inside, and now Burkett says, nope, I want it away. You saw the pinky, which is a fastball in. That's the fastball away. Maybe they're reversing it on us. Because of television, that brings about a lot of innovations. Or maybe the wiggle is an inside fastball. Fastball inside, one would assume.
It is, and it's strike 3. So Hollins is having a tough day. He's left a couple of men at third with less than 2 outs. He's 0 for 3.
Talking to Dick Pohl, the pitching coach with the Giants, and he says along with the changeup that we talked about earlier, the ability to throw inside for strikes to left-handed batters has been another reason that John Burkett has had such a terrific year. That neutralizes the left-handers when you can crowd them as effectively with such good control as Burkett has done.
Burkett is fan 3. Here's Darren Dalton. Was grounded out and popped to short. Despite the 0 for 2, is still a .500 hitter lifetime against Burkett.
Talk about 2 pitching coaches that should be given a lot of credit. We mentioned Dick Pohl, and somebody to turn this Giant staff around like he's done in such a short period of time. And on the other side, Johnny Padres with the Philadelphia Phillies. That's that inside fastball again.
There's Dick Pohl on the left, just in front of the fan. Out of play and left. Still 0-2 on Dalton.
A lot of young pitchers they scare themselves away from the inside area to a power hitter. And if you talk to all power hitters, they like to extend their arms. Most home runs are on balls that are hit in front of the plate, not on balls that are inside corner type pitches.
That's an inside corner type pitch that just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Runners at first and third. Dykstra started the inning with a walk and took third on the single to right by John Kruk. 2-2.
You can see that pattern that Burkett is setting up. He struck out Hollins on the fastball inside, and he has been pounding Dalton with regularity in there. Darren set up for the changeup, but I think they're going to go back out. He stared him off with that one. This is going to be a breaking ball. Some pitchers don't like to shake catchers off. They like to stare them off. In other words, they'll just stare and not go into their stretch until the catcher changes the signs.
Why is that?
I guess they don't like to say no to their pal. I don't know. A lot of them said no to me. I'll say that.
The runner will be off from first with the 3-2 pitch. It's ball 4. Burkett had him 0-2 and let him wiggle off the hook. The third walk thrown by Burkett, 2 in this inning. Even though it's the 5th, he has to be tiring on this 100-degree day at the vet. 3-3 game. It was that way after 2 innings, and it's still that way in the bottom of the 5th. Jim Eisenreich is 2 for 2. Couple of singles, one to center, one to left. He scored on the home run by Milt Thompson in the second. That home run tied the game at 3. John Kruk tripled in Dykstra with the first Philadelphia run in the first. Royce Clayton an RBI single for San Francisco in the first. Steve Scarsoni a 2-run double in the second, and it's 1 strike on Eisenreich. Dusty Baker in his first year as Giant skipper after 5 years as the hitting coach. Weekly down to first. Clark wins the race to the base, and Burkett gets out of the jam. We'll return to Veterans Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
Can you imagine going one-on-one with Michael Jordan? You know the hero, and you know the accusations. Now meet the man.
Eye to Eye with Connie Chung, Thursday.
Hey, it's summer. Time to get into the cold. Tune into CBS each Monday in July for the coolest episodes of Northern Exposure, sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft. And stay cool with this collection of the coolest rock classics. Look for details wherever you see this display for Miller Genuine Draft. Northern Exposure on CBS. It's a cool place to be.
This is CBS.
Recently, an object was sighted.
It was big. It was just big.
Too big to measure with the human eye.
They say it could show up anywhere.
Whoa! Did you see that? Pizza Hut!
Bigfoot from Pizza Hut.
Out of sight. Big.
21 slices.
I can handle it.
On a totally different crust.
Whoa!
For a ridiculously low $10.99. It's a legendary value. Bigfoot from Pizza Hut. The biggest pizza you can get delivered.
What would you do with $2,100?
I'd look into summer camp.
Buy an Accord DX over a Camry DX and you'll save some money, as well as your sanity. Visit your Tri-State Honda dealer today. The smart way to go. What would you do with $3,800?
I'd take my little princess to Paris. Would you like that, princess?
Buy an Accord DX over a Taurus GL and you'll save the money to get there.
Yeah.
Visit your Tri-State Honda dealer today. The smart way to go.
Hey, nothing like a cold Diet Pepsi on a hot day, huh?
Well, hot is a relative term. You see, given temperatures rise regardless of mass. Yet, Galileo observed rising temperatures will decrease with the exposure of an endothermic source. True transference will persist until this one irresistible calorie interacts, thus altering the system.
Yeah, take care. See you later.
Maybe we just should have said, uh-huh.
You got the right one, baby. Uh-huh.
Is Major League Baseball throwing you a curve? The Dump, Tuesday on Channel 10 News.
Well, we mentioned that this game here in Philadelphia is a battle between two teams heading in opposite directions, and that was the case at Toronto, and those teams continue to head in the directions in which they were headed at the start of the ballgame. Texas another win, Toronto another loss, and it is tightening. The Yankees not been enduring a rough West Coast trip. They'd be in first place by now. 10-7, Texas beat Toronto. All kinds of home runs in that game. Palmer and Gonzalez for Texas. Olerud, White, and Sprague for Toronto. The Blue Jays have now lost 4 in a row, and 9 of their last 11 Well, Texas has won 3 straight and 9 of 11. Here it's 3-3 as we go to the top of the 6th inning with Royce Clayton leading off against Tommy Green. Clayton singled to drive in a run in the first. He flied to right in the third. Kurt Manwaring to follow, and then Paul Ferries. Foul ball, and just foul past the bag at third. We hope you'll be tuned to CBS Sports 1 week from today, next Saturday at 1 Eastern Time. Tim and I will be at Yankee Stadium for the matchup between the Athletics and the Yankees. Greg Gumbel and Jim Cott will bring you the ball game between the Astros and Cardinals from St. Louis. That's next Saturday at 1 Eastern. Defensive swing with 2 strikes, and Clayton is out in the bounding ball to second. Kevin Rogers has been throwing in the San Francisco bullpen. You mentioned that the Toronto Blue Jays loss today was their 4th in a row. The Phillies and the Giants are the only 2 teams in the majors this year that have not been swept in a series. And these 2 teams and the New York Yankees are the only teams that have not lost 4 games in a row at any time this year. At the conclusion of today's game, Tim McCarver and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's name to the Special Olympics. The reason for the delay was a fan on the field. It was our policy not to show the fan, so as not to encourage others to run on the field seeking the limelight. That's actually a written policy in the CBS manual.
A written directive.
Kurt Manwaring fouled it back into the press box. You know it wasn't caught over there. As if we would have caught it had it come in here. Manwaring has walked and singled to right. Tommy Green walked 4 of the first 7 men he faced. He has not issued a walk since. And he's only allowed 2 hits since the 2nd inning. Another chance in the press box. 2-2 on Manwaring.
Usually on a day like today, a pitcher might start off successfully because he's so fresh and then run into problems in the middle innings, but it's been just the opposite for both Tommy Green and Burkett. They ran into problems in the 2nd and have settled down since then.
Hollins. Well, you wonder if perhaps they didn't warm up as vigorously as they ordinarily might.
Possibly.
Given the conditions and knowing that.
Good point.
They are likely to wear out early.
Yeah, sometimes you take that approach out there as a pitcher on a 100-degree day. You say, you know, I think I'll pace myself. And then first 2 innings, they score 3 runs. And then you get a little afraid. You say,
you're pacing in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I'll be pacing in the clubhouse. Right. Pacing after 3 innings is not exactly pacing yourself. So they turn it up a notch. And that's what both pitchers have done.
Paul Ferries looked at a ball. Just about 100 degrees on the button. That's how many pitches Tommy Green has thrown. Now 101 as he's gone to 2-0 on Ferries. Ball 3.
Now this is not an insignificant at bat for Paul Ferries. If he can get on, you clear the pitcher, you keep Burkett in the game. If Tommy Green gets him out, the Phillies might see Burkett depart in the 7th inning because of the heat. Ferries not the type of guy who can hit a home run consistently, so you want to challenge him right here.
And they do. He popped it up. Morandini and Stocker. After a moment's hesitation, it's Stocker making the play. A 1-2-3 inning for Tommy Green. On to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 3.
I see you with a Honda dealer yesterday? Yeah, you were looking at that Accord. Well, you should know that in an independent 100,000-mile test, the Oldsmobile Achieva beat the Accord. And now you can buy an Achieva S with air, automatic, anti-lock brakes, and more for just $199 a month for 36 months. It's your choice.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going and going.
People get so emotional. It's the biggest transaction of their life. They look to you for that help, and you just have to guide them through that process.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Century 21, rated best at selling homes.
With automatic transmission, power steering, a fuel-injected engine, and an extremely roomy interior. Think of it as a luxury car with a very large trunk. Ryder, we're there when you need us.
You're unbelievable. You're so unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable.
A message from Major League Baseball.
Life in the American League West, where 6 games under 500 has you only 5 games out of first place. That's the case for the Oakland Athletics. Chicago entering today's action with a 1-game lead over Kansas City, a 1.5-game lead over Texas. Those standings are up to date, reflecting the win by Texas over Toronto. Jim Fregosi recently given a contract extension of some note through 1998. He said that doesn't really matter, even with the longer contract. If they don't want you to be the manager, they're still going to fire you. But at least it's nice to know you're going to get paid.
Right next to Jim is Pete Incaviglia, and the fellow with the mustache there is the bench coach for the Phillies, John Vukovich. And an interesting story, he had the Chicago Cubs job for one morning. Dallas Green was fired that afternoon, and in comes Jim Fry, and didn't fire John Vukovich. In effect, he just named Don Zimmer the manager, but had Dallas Green not been fired, John Vukovich would have been the manager of the Chicago Cubs in 1987, and eventually he will be a major league manager in my judgment.
And hopefully for more than a day.
More than a morning.
More than a morning.
Right.
A part of a day.
AM.
He hopes to make it to PM. Milt Thompson out on the ground ball to second. Here's Kevin Stocker. Well, they've tried Juan Bell, Mariano Duncan, and Kim Batiste at shortstop. And Stocker can do the job. He'll be the shortstop for a while. Duncan's on the disabled list. Batiste is a little bit upset. He really only had 4 games as the starting shortstop once Duncan went on the DL. And Batiste said in the paper here this morning that he'd like to be traded if he doesn't have a future here. When he was asked if he thought he had a future here, he said no, which one would extrapolate and say that means he would like to be traded. Stocker with the base hit.
Well, the artificial surface, when you have the AstroTurf on your home, you have to have a different type of shortstop. You have to have a ranging shortstop, and the knock on Kim Batiste, he's a good player, they like him, but as far as his range is concerned, he is not an adequate shortstop. He is a better third baseman. You don't need the range at third, and because of Stocker's range, that's why they had to bring him up. They just saw too many balls trickling through the middle. I think Kim Batiste is going to be a good major league player, but I think he's better suited for third base.
And he did an excellent job at third base during that spell of just more than 2 weeks when Hollins was on the disabled list. Burkett stepped off, and Tommy Green did show bunt Stalker at first with 1 out in the 6th in a 3-3 game. This battle of the 2 first-place teams in the National League. A good bunt. Burkett goes to first. Teferi's covering. It's a sacrifice. 1-4. And the go-ahead run in scoring position for Philadelphia with 2 down.
Good bunt by Tommy Green, not only in the right spot, but the right speed. He deadened it nicely, and the sacrifice successful. 3rd of the year for Tommy Green.
Now the top of the order, Lenny Dykstra to the plate for the 4th time. He has walked twice and bounced to first. He has scored a run. Out of play. 1 strike on Dykstra. Certainly part of the disappointment for Lenny Dykstra in not making the All-Star team was that it was really a chance to demonstrate that he's come all the way back from that car accident and all the negative publicity that went with it a couple of years ago. Battled injuries since then. And he has really returned to a position of being one of the best outfielders in the game, and certainly one of the most effective leadoff hitters. Check swing bouncer could be a problem. Scarsoni didn't get it there.
Will Clark knew there was no chance to get Dykstra, so instead of trying to field the short hop, he comes in front of Lenny. Check swing right here. Scarsoni decides it's not going to go foul, and I think he's right. I don't think it would have. But watch Clark. See, Clark knew it was going to be in the dirt had he stayed on the bag. And realizing with 2 outs, they still need, for the most part, a hit to get the runner in. Clark comes off the bag and forgets about trying to make the play on Dykstra. Good play by Will Clark.
And an infield hit for Lenny Dykstra. Now the go-ahead run is at 3rd with 2 outs. Runners at the corners for Mickey Morandini. Base hit. And a 4-3 Philadelphia lead. Stalker in from 3rd. And Philadelphia leads for the first time this afternoon.
They lead for the first time in this series, as a matter of fact. The Giants last night had a 13-0 lead after 2.5 innings. So the Phillies are finding themselves in a 1-run ball game, and they are very happy. They're on top. Dusty Baker has not had too many problems with his pitching lately, and you really can't say that Burkett's done a bad job today, but Dusty's going to go to the left-hander.
And he's going to make a double switch. Eric Johnson, an infielder, is coming into the ball game, and Paul Ferries is exiting, the second baseman, and Kevin Rogers will be the new pitcher. Burkett departs with the Giants trailing by a run.
Carl Lewis, Jackie Joyner-Kersey, Mike Powell, Gail Devers. The Lausanne Track and Field Meet, sponsored by Foot Locker, Sunday on CBS.
She thinks they did.
It's a memory I'll never forget.
He knows they didn't.
We never had sex.
Will she take the news graciously? It's a cool place to be, Northern Exposure Monday.
This year, Subway will climb up to become the 2nd largest restaurant chain in North America behind McDonald's. Our dedication to making fresh sandwiches paid off. We thought we'd celebrate by climbing North America's 2nd tallest mountain. So here we are, every Subway owner. Don't worry, we've got safety ropes. To thank you, we're having a 2-cent sale. Everyone who buys a medium or large soft drink automatically wins delicious Subway food for just 2 cents. Hey, look, a penny. I'm halfway there.
Come in and win. It's the 2-cent sale at Subway.
Pedro Guerrero, Bobby Bonilla, Barry Bonds. Only one pitcher can stop hitters like these.
I'm the new pitcher.
And this summer, he'll teach them
I dare you to run. What?
a whole new way to play the game.
Chicken?
I'm not a chicken, you're the chicken.
Rookie of the Year.
Gotcha.
Rated PG. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure. When dryness really counts, be sure to be dry. Sure Solid has the most effective wetness-fighting ingredient you can buy. For dryness no one beat. So you're either sure or unsure. Sure. Unsure. Be sure to be dry.
He is a guy who can eat left-handed batters up. Kevin Rogers, even though he's 0-2 on the year, he's used specifically by Dusty Baker, middle inning situations to get left-handers out when his team's in trouble, and this is a perfect situation. John Kruk will be the batter. Dave Holland's schedule up next, and then you have a left-handed hitter, Darren Dalton, up. And a double switch employed, as Sean said, with Eric Johnson in at second base. But watch for Kevin Rogers to be pitching Kruk inside with that tailing fastball. And Kruk's going to hit the ball to left field. All you have to do is take a look at Barry Bonds. Looks like Barry Bonds is playing John Kruk like Ron Gant last year.
And shake hands with the fans in those left field seats. Runners at first and second. Dykstra at second. Morandini at first. 1 run in. Philadelphia has taken a 1-run lead. Kevin Rogers in relief of John Burkett. Gets Kruk to bounce weakly down to third. Interesting play there. Goes 5-6. It was the shortstop Clayton covering the second base bag. Rogers did his work very quickly. It's a 1-run lead for Philadelphia.
You've got to attack the courses. You've got to master the machinery. You've got to use all your resources.
It's not really that difficult to earn the name Goodwrench.
All it takes is all you've got.
Goodwrench, raising the standards of performance on the track and in your GM dealership.
After you shave, now there's comfort to the power of 3. It's new soothing Edge Aftershave with 3 soothing formulas for 3 specific skin types. An aloe formula that's alcohol-free to soothe sensitive skin. Extra moisturizers to soothe if your skin is dry. And a cool vitamin E splash for normal skin. Soothing better than ever with the power of 3. New Edge Aftershave skincare for men. Ultimate comfort. That's the Edge.
It began for me when I saw Tony Dorsett in the Super Bowl. It began for me when I got the ring. For me, it's still the beginning.
The Reebok preseason shoe at Foot Locker, where it all begins.
At Econo Lodge, Roadway, and Friendship Hotels, pick up an entry form and you could win one of 7 $50,000 giveaways in the sweepstakes they call Choiceosaurus. Thousands of great dinosaur prizes are waiting. Call 1-800-4CHOICE today.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Mr. Goodwrench, the GM expert. Coca-Cola Classic, always the real thing, always Coca-Cola. And by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The homestanding Phillies have taken their first lead in the series with 1 run in the bottom of the 6th. They lead 4-3 as Eric Johnson, playing in just his 2nd major league game, leads off for the Giants. You can tell that he's new. He doesn't even have a name on his back.
Well, we'll put one there. There, J-O-H-N. I hope I spell this right. There. Now, there you go. You remember the old beer ad? Please don't call me Johnson. We just called him Johnson.
We did.
Yeah.
And he drills one to left. Thompson looking up, and it's off the wall. Johnson has a name and his first major league hit in his 2nd major league at bat. He came up Thursday night.
If you hit like that, you don't need a name. All you need is a number. Boy, he crushes this ball. He misses a home run by about 6 feet. About halfway up. So a double for Eric Johnson.
He wasn't even on the major league roster in spring training, wasn't in the major league camp. And they're doubly happy in the Bay Area. He's a native, born in Oakland, lives in San Ramon.
This is a very interesting play right here because usually you don't bunt to tie on the road. Johnson a fast runner, Lewis a pretty good hitter, having a good year, but Dusty Baker probably thinking that his bullpen is so strong, if he gets into a battle of the bullpens, he's going to win, and that's why he's bunting the tie right now. Giants with one of the strongest bullpens in baseball.
Dusty says it's the best. Lewis gets the bunt down. Green looked at third, goes to first in time. It's a sacrifice. 1-4. The play on Lewis. Double-barreled action. David West is the left-hander, Larry Anderson the right-hander in the Philadelphia bullpen. So the tying run is at third, and the infield is in for the Phillies with Steve Scarsoni at the plate. Scarsoni walked and scored in the first. He doubled to drive in 2 runs in the second and was called out on strikes in the fifth. One strike on Scarsoni. And they must have had a pretty good infield down there at AAA Phoenix with Scarsoni, Ferries, and Johnson. They did a smart thing down there, too. They had all 3 of those players rotating at second, short, and third. So they each got plenty of experience at all 3 of those positions, and it's paid off. Scarsoni has played second and third since being called up from Phoenix.
Yeah, you see that more and more. Major league teams expanding their rosters down to the AAA teams to get guys ready. Not only for the future, but for now.
A rocket foul past the end of the Giants dugout. 1-2 on Scarsoni. Will Clark on deck. On the radar gun downstairs, the last pitch of Tommy Green clocked at 92 miles per hour. So even in this heat, at more than 100 pitches in the 7th inning, he is still throwing hard. Pop-up. They need Dykstra to catch it with the infield in. He does, and Johnson doesn't try it. Much too shallow. The throw was off the mark, and Dalton made a terrific play running toward the Giant dugout. Green had it backed up, but if that got by Dalton, it certainly would have been tempting for Johnson to try it.
Well, we talked earlier about Darren Dalton and the knees and how he can't get down on a wild pitch. But if this is a senseless throw by Lenny Dykstra. The runner at third, Eric Johnson's halfway. Now, Lenny doesn't know that, but somebody's got to tell him. Had this throw caromed into the dugout and Johnson had scored, it would have been a very, very cheap run. I think Jim Fragosi's going to make a move here.
He is. With Will Clark due up, he wants the left-hander David West. The Phillies protecting a 1-run lead, and the hand is for Tommy Green.
When the going gets hot, the hot go to the beach. Coors Light Women's Pro Beach Volleyball. Sunday on CBS.
A special Wednesday episode.
I'm Elvis.
The King lives, and guess who's all shook up?
If it wasn't for Johnny, I never would have squeezed myself into this suit.
A special Wednesday Johnny Bago.
I got a new taste that's pure delight. New Pringles Sour Cream and Onion Light. That's right. Rich sour cream and tangy onion. That taste is really something because the dip is in the chips. So delicious on your lips. Look, compare Pringles to regular chips. Pringles have less fat and they're less greasy too. The proof's in front of you. So grab a bunch of this, not that, and get a whole lot of taste and less of the fat. New Pringles Sour Cream and Onion Light. That's right. Once you pop, you, and you can't stop.
5, 4. I hit the floor at 9 a.m. and I'm going non-stop till we close. That's why I fix a dent and forget it.
An all-night shift and 5 cups of coffee. No problem. Now I fix it and forget it.
Even in the hottest liquids, when other adhesives stop holding, Fix-It-Dent holds stronger and longer.
Why not?
Now that he switched to Fix-It-Dent, he can go from morning till night and still eat like that.
For the strongest, longest hold, Fix-It-Dent and forget it.
With Ryder's 24-hour number, not only can you get everything you need to make your move easier, but you can call us with any other questions that come up along the way.
Does Route 60 run through Phoenix?
Ryder, we're there when you need us.
At Econo Lodges all over America, pick up an entry form and you could win one of 7 $50,000 giveaways in the sweepstakes they call Choiceosaurus. Thousands of great dinosaur prizes are waiting. Call 1-800-4CHOICE today.
When you talk to Jim Fregosi about his bullpen, he says the 2 guys that have really stood out and stood tall are Larry Anderson and David West. It's easy for David West to stand tall. He's 6'6", but he has just done a terrific job out of the bullpen for Jim Fregosi's Phillies. His 38th appearance on the year, that ties him with Roger Mason for the team lead in appearances, but Roger Mason was with the Colorado Rockies earlier in the year.
Now Will Clark. And they really don't gain much in the lefty-righty switch. He's .294 career against lefties, .304 lifetime against right-handed pitching.
I said Roger Mason with the Rockies. He was with the San Diego Padres earlier in the season.
Roger that.
Roger.
Will Clark bounced the first pitch foul. Tying run at third for Clark. With 2 outs in the top of the 7th, the Phillies lead 4-3. Clark 1 for 3. He singled to right in the 5th. Foul ball. West has jumped ahead of Clark 0-2.
Generally speaking, that is the best place for a left-handed pitcher to pitch a left-handed hitter, up and in. When you have that tail-end fastball, if you talk to all left-handed batters who are effective against left-handers, that's the pitch they dread.
Just missed. Dalton framed it well to make it look a little bit better than it was.
And so you saw fastball inside, and now this breaking ball, and Dalton and West wanted it very, very close.
The 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, there have been a lot of people waiting for West to start to perform effectively, as you noted. Jim Fregosi says he has this year. He was considered a top pitching prospect when he started his career with the Mets, then went to Minnesota. He was a big part of that trade between the Twins and the Mets that sent Frank Viola to the Mets. He never really fulfilled what was expected of him in Minnesota. Matter of fact, David first broke into the major leagues in 1988, but he's only had 1 full season in the majors, and that was 1990 with the Twins when he went 7-9 with an ERA of over 5. Another 2-2 pitch. Outside, the count is full. From 0-2 to 3-2 for Will Clark, who, as you saw when he stepped into the batter's box, is wearing a shin guard on his right foot. He fouls all kinds of balls off that foot. This is just the 3rd time in his career that he's worn that protective piece of equipment. He absolutely hates it. And you know he has to be in a lot of pain to put it on. Dykstra makes the catch. Good work by West to put out the fire. And an excellent start for Tommy Green in the heat.
If you were at the game right now, you'd be standing up and singing and taking part in a time-honored tradition, the 7th inning stretch. But you're not at the game, so honor another tradition. Head to the fridge, grab yourself a Coke. We won't even make you sing.
You've got to attack the courses. You've got to master the machinery. You've got to use all your resources.
It's not really that difficult to earn the name Goodwrench.
All it takes is all you've got.
Goodwrench, raising the standards of performance on the track and in your GM dealership.
This year, Subway will climb up to become the second largest restaurant chain in North America behind McDonald's. Our dedication to making fresh sandwiches paid off. We thought we'd celebrate by climbing North America's second tallest mountain. So here we are, every Subway owner. Don't worry, we've got safety ropes. To thank you, we're having a 2-cent sale. Everyone who buys a medium or large soft drink automatically wins delicious Subway food for just 2 cents. Hey, look, a penny. I'm halfway there.
Come in and win. It's the 2-cent sale at Subway.
When your dentist cleans your teeth, he uses special instruments that get between them. But what toothbrush would your dentist prefer to use? Well, in a recent nationwide test, dentists tried the leading flat brush and Crest Complete. The brush more dentists preferred was Crest Complete. Its one-of-a-kind rippled bristles get up to 37% farther between teeth than the leading flat brush. So, to help maintain a dentist clean at home, choose Crest Complete. It helps maintain a dentist clean.
At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, Desonex. Killing those grungy fungi before they get cracking and burning. Go get that can now, or else don't blame Desonex.
Tomorrow, CBS Sports presents the Coors Light Women's Volleyball Tournament from Hermosa Beach, California. Then we'll take you from the beach to picturesque Switzerland for the Lausanne Track and Field Classic, sponsored by Foot Locker. That's all tomorrow, starting at 4 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports. This afternoon on CBS Sports, the Phillies lead 4-3 as they bat in the bottom of the 7th against reliever Kevin Rogers. Dave Hollins is 0 for 3. Middle third of the order, Hollins, Dalton, and Eisenreich due up. To right field, on the run, Martinez. It's a foul ball. John Burkett started for the Giants. He went 5 2/3. He allowed 4 runs, all earned on 7 hits, walked 3 and struck out 3. He will not pick up his major league high 14th win this afternoon. And the next time we see him may well be as the starting pitcher for the National League Tuesday night in the All-Star game in Baltimore. Comes your way at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday from Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Two and 1 on Hollins. Kevin Rogers, 24-year-old lefty from Cleveland, Mississippi. Induced a pop-up from Hollins. Second baseman Johnson took charge and made the play. Rather authoritatively for a fellow just in his second major league game. Again, Texas beat Toronto, and Kansas City leads 7-6. They came up with 5 runs in the 6th inning. A 3-run homer by Gary Gaetti and a 2-run shot by Phil Hyatt. Dan Gladden did a grand slam for Detroit earlier. Baltimore leads 3-0. Chris Hoyle's a 2-run homer, his 10th round tripper in his last 18 starts. Cal Ripken got his 2000th hit. And Boston leads Oakland 1-0. The Red Sox playing well out west. Dodgers trying to come back at Shea. Houston leads Chicago 1-0. And here it is 4-3 Philadelphia. Dalton at the plate with 1 out. In the 7th, base is empty. The 1-0 pitch, well hit off the glove of Clark. Rogers just did beat Dalton to the bag, then went down in a heap, and he is limping around. He was a little bit slow in moving toward the bag to cover, and as a result, that made the timing of his arrival much too concurrent with that of Dalton.
All left-handers are, though, because when left-handers release the ball, especially a herky-jerky left-hander like Rogers, they end up on the third base side. They end up going toward third. Watch Rogers release the ball and look at his momentum. Takes him a little towards third.
He's still standing.
Yeah, that's right. Now he recovers. That wasn't necessarily true in that particular instance, but Clark with a terrific play and Rogers recovering quickly, and it looked like Darren Dalton hit him right on the Achilles of his right foot. That's when Dalton's left foot.
Yes, he did.
Yep, looks like the Achilles of his right foot. He appears to be all right, but that could have been very, very serious for either Rogers or Dalton. But you're right, normally that is the reason why left-handers get to first a lot later than they should. But that did not appear to be the case with Kevin Rogers. It looked like he moved his foot off the bag at the last minute. That could have prevented a serious injury.
He's going to stay in. Kevin took a couple of warm-up tosses and pronounced himself fit to continue.
It's fortunate that that is not the leg off of which he pushes. He pushes off that left leg, lands on the right one.
And then missed outside to Jim Eisenreich, who's 2 for 3 with a couple of singles.
Rogers reminds me a little bit of Scott Radinsky of the Chicago White Sox. He throws a little like him across his body, herky-jerky.
(2-0) on Eisenreich. With 2 outs and the base is empty. In the home half of the 7th, Phillies looking for their first win in this series. This is the 3rd game of the 4-game set. 2-1 on Eisenreich. He's out of baseball for a couple of years as he adjusted to medication. Helps him deal with Tourette syndrome. He's really a great story and courage, and is putting together a very nice major league career for himself when it looked like any hope of that was over in the late 80s.
Does a good job right here. He hits it off the end of the bat, but just over the leaping Royce Clayton. Boy, Clayton really got up there. 4 feet off the ground.
Now Milt Thompson. Eisenreich at first base after his 3rd hit. Thompson. This time Rogers will play it himself, and that ends the inning. We played 7 at the Vet. 4-3 Philadelphia.
Thank you. To all of you attracted by Buick's reputation for quality, but who think a new Buick is beyond your means, may I make the following suggestion? Go see the new Buick Skylark Custom. It is every bit a quality Buick. And as the most affordable Buick for 1993, it makes Buick quality more attractive than ever.
This is the medal Schlitz just won at the Great American Beer Festival. Schlitz won Best American Lager Beer, beating several major brands. We're proud of this medal, but we're even more proud of the quality and great taste of Schlitz beer. So choose what the judges at the Great American Beer Festival chose. Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
At Econo Lodge, Roadway, and Friendship Hotels, pick up an entry form and you could win one of 7 $50,000 giveaways in the sweepstakes they call Choiceosaurus. Thousands of great dinosaur prizes are waiting. Call 1-800-4CHOICE today.
Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to, the minute you wanted to? Learn special things.
That's all taken from jazz.
Now, any questions? From faraway places.
Oakland?
So where did jazz come from?
Good question.
Or tucked your baby in. From a phone booth. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
The Astronomy Club are big dippers tonight with new KFC popcorn chicken. The bigger, meatier pieces now come with a choice of dipping sauces.
Meteor!
They certainly are.
New KFC popcorn chicken.
Friends, this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. How about the Philly fanatic? That fan was about to run out on the field, and he was a crime stopper. Dave Raymond does such a terrific job as the Philly fanatic. All the mascots in sports, really, he and the chicken, you'd have to say, are the two most notable, really the two best.
David, the son of the former coach of the University of Delaware, actually still the coach, Tubby Raymond, and a very touching story. His mom, who passed away last year, was hearing impaired, and David credits having to talk with her with sign language all of his years, for most of his life, really, for the way he conveys and communicates to the crowd with his hands in that uniform. He is terrific.
Dave Raymond, in his 16th year as the Philly fanatic. He's 37 years old, and he's probably lost about 15 pounds.
At least.
He is terrific. I actually got kissed by the Mariner Moose in Seattle last weekend.
Oh?
Right on the cheek.
Nothing serious.
Well, I have thought a lot about it in the last week. Barry Bonds 0 for 2. He was intentionally walked in the first inning. Dave Martinez to follow, and then Royce Clayton. Tim will be back shortly. It's 4-3 Philadelphia as we go to the 8th. No runs batted in today for Bonds, but he has assumed the league lead with Matt Williams on the disabled list. Bonds ran hard, but Morandini got him. And it should be noted what a nice job Mike Benjamin did, filling in for most of the time that Williams has been out of action. He himself is injured on the DL, but he did a terrific job spelling Williams.
Now, Barry Bonds could very well be on his way to his 3rd MVP award in the last 4 years. Nobody has ever done that. Won 3 MVP titles in that short a period of time. Yogi Berra and Roy Campanella won 3 in 5 years, but nobody has ever won 3 MVPs in the short period of time of 4 years.
Jim Fregosi on his way to the mound. Mark Carrion has been introduced as a pinch hitter for Martinez. So David West departs, having retired each of the 2 hitters he faced, and Larry Anderson will be the new pitcher when we come back.
Want to break a European's heart? Let him test drive a Buick Park Avenue Ultra for 2 weeks, then take it away. You see, the Ultra, with its supercharged engine, luxury appointments, and Buick quality, is built in such limited quantities, it's just not available in Europe yet. Want to break a European's heart? Let him drive an Ultra, then take it away.
What? Oh, guard dog. Oh, very scary.
Finally, the good stuff.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Barry Bonds, Brian Sandberg, Kirby Puckett, Roberto Alomar, Ken Griffey Jr. The All-Star Game, Tuesday night on CBS.
Steve, he said, Scarsoni's 2-run double in the second made it 3-1 San Francisco, but the Phillies have battled back to take the lead with a 2-run homer by Milt Thompson in the second, made it 3-3. And then Mickey Morandini with a clutch 2-out single in the 6th scored Kevin Stocker with the go-ahead run. It's 4-3 in the top of the 8th with 1 out, the base is empty. Larry Anderson is on to pitch to the pinch hitter, Mark Carrion.
You notice that Jim Fregosi waited until, this may sound sophomoric, but you notice that Fregosi waited until the pinch hitting move was made to get the left-hander out of there, to put Mark Carrion up there. So now, and only now, does he bring in Larry Anderson to face the right-hander. So Dusty Baker could counter with another left-hander, but what he would in effect do is lose 2 players with that one move. Larry Anderson has a slot to right-handed batters that's low and away. He has that same slot to left-handed batters. So from his vantage point, the left side of the plate is the most fertile part of the plate as far as Anderson is concerned. Low and away to right-handers, right at the belt inside the left-handers.
Mark Carrion waiting to face him. Larry Anderson, generally regarded as the funniest man in Major League Baseball. He is a flake, as he will admit. He asked one good question, though. He said, if a guy's a good fastball hitter, should I throw him a bad fastball?
He was on the disabled list this year. He came off of it, pitched in a simulated game, and said, what should I do? Go in and have a simulated beer?
He's the oldest player in the National League at age 40. And we'll throw a pitch in earnest here to Mark Carrion.
Dalton automatically outside.
And that's where the pitch is as well, on the corner for a strike.
Mark Carrion with 8 career pinch hit home runs. That's second as far as active players are concerned. Candy Maldonado of the Cubs has 10.
And Mark Carrion, another important member of the bench of San Francisco. We've mentioned a couple of times. It's such a big part of the Giants' success. Anderson was also involved in what some might regard as one of the worst trades in recent years in baseball. In 1990, he was traded by Houston to the Boston Red Sox for Jeff Bagwell, who has become a superstar for Houston. That's well hit to center. Dykstra at the wall makes the catch.
Milt Thompson running over and high-fiving Dykstra. I don't think I've ever seen that while the inning is going on. Usually at the end of the inning they wait for those high fives. Fine play by Dykstra as Nails gets nailed. Good old padding. That wall padded a couple of years ago by the Phillies. Dykstra's all right. Sure, Andy Van Slyke wishes the St. Louis wall were padded a little bit more. Broke his collarbone running into it about 3 weeks ago.
Royce Clayton, a swing and a miss for a strike. He singled a drive and a run in the first. The Boston Red Sox general manager Lou Gorman has said several times since that Anderson for Bagwell trade that he would do it again, because Anderson came over and really helped solidify the Boston bullpen in late 1990 and helped the Red Sox to a division title. And as Lou Gorman says, when you're close and you have a chance to win, you have to make the deals to win right then, because you never know when you'll be that close again.
Yeah, Larry.
Certainly Bagwell is a great player.
Certainly is, and Larry Anderson fit an immediate need, and Houston needed no one immediately. They could wait, and they did.
On to the bottom of the 8th. Still Phillies by a run.
Dave Johnson, U.S. decathlete.
The trick is knowing what to sweat and what to let go. That's what performance is all about. That's why I like this stuff. It's got performance written all over it. Shampoo and conditioner in one, Pert Plus. It always gives me exactly what I'm after. Hair that looks great without a lot of fuss.
Pert Plus, also in dandruff control.
The secret to a strong finish is endurance. Introducing High Endurance, new from Old Spice. A breakthrough deodorant that doesn't wear out like the other guys. Here's proof. This is a day's worth of our deodorant. See how it outlasts the leading stick even after 24 hours? Now that's endurance. For the longest lasting, hardest working, the best deodorant stick, demand proof. Get new High Endurance from Old Spice. You won't go far without it.
For as long as anyone can remember,
The Roadmaster name has graced only automobiles of great strength and security. Buick Roadmaster for 1993 is no exception. Consider, for example, the protection of Roadmaster's full perimeter frame. Its V8 power, anti-lock brakes, and driver airbag. Buick Roadmaster, perhaps the world's best value in a traditional luxury car.
Do you have a problem with food sticking to your barbecue? Just spray all-natural Pam on a cold grill, and your problem will go away. Pam makes summer less sticky.
Dan O'Brien?
Okay, Dan. I'll show you to your truck.
Do our new computerized reservations make renting from Ryder faster than ever?
What's that name again? Save!
No contest.
This is Bob Schieffer. Flood disasters are declared in 3 states. There is more record heat, and the president warns North Korea. All on tonight's Evening News.
With 1 out and nobody on, that fine play by Lenny Dykstra in center field prevented extra bases off of Larry Anderson on the ball hit by Mark Arion, and he gets the basic high five and a conventional handshake. That's unusual. Larry Anderson giving him the straight handshake. You don't see that too often anymore.
It's a vanishing breed. Base hit. Kevin Stalker trying to make his case to remain at the major league level and be the Phillies' everyday shortstop. He's 2 for 4 today.
So that's 7 for 19. He ups his .333 average. It's only 4 games. But sometimes when you win a pennant or win a division, you look back on a period of games, a segment of games, where a young guy like Stalker can contribute to a winning effort. I mean, after all, he scored the go-ahead run in the 6th inning.
And in continuing our theme of the importance of quality bench play, here's Ricky Jordan with those numbers off the bench, a .300 average. 4 home runs this year for Jordan, who's batting for the pitcher Anderson.
You might say, well, why doesn't Dusty Baker counter with a right-handed pitcher here? Well, you've got 2 left-handers coming up, Lenny Dykstra and Mickey Morandini. For that same reason, that's why Jordan's not bunting here.
So strike and a count of 1-1 on Jordan. 41,869 on hand here at the Vet this afternoon, watching Game 3 of this 4-game series. Hoping to leave, having watched the Phillies win their first game in this set. Check swing. It's a strike. Throw down to first, and just back safely is Stalker.
Kurt Manwaring remarkably has caught 49% of would-be base stealers this year. 29 have stolen. He's thrown out 28. And this quick throw down there looked like Stalker slipped on the rug, and that throw almost had Kevin. But Manwaring with a terrific arm behind home.
Stalker at first. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th, 4-3 Philadelphia. That's slowly toward third. Scarsoni has no play.
I think he caught the ball on the right side of his body. It looked like that ball took a funky hop to Steve's right on that last hop, and it looked like he got tangled a bit. Had he caught it on his left side, I think he has a play, or in the middle of his body. Watch this little weird hop. See how it bounces above his shoulder right there. So by reaching back across, he couldn't come up with it cleanly, and Ricky Jordan has a pinch hit infield single.
And the Phillies have the first 2 men on here in the 8th as they look for some insurance. Lenny Dykstra has not sacrificed this year. And he'll wait as Dusty Baker goes to the mound. Dusty told us yesterday he manages a lot like a basketball coach would coach a basketball game. You have to know when to call timeout. You saw him on the way to the mound. He actually gave the timeout signal there.
I think that was a 20-second timeout.
No, that would be to the shoulders.
Oh. Well, we know it's not a TV timeout.
We're still here.
I think he went out to talk about the bunt play. Dykstra, as you said, is not sacrificed all year. I think this will be his first time. Everything points up to that. Of course, you have Morandini on deck.
And Lenny has hit only .238 this year against lefties. So
I'd have him bunt here.
I'm with you. The Mets held on to beat the Dodgers 7-6. Saberhagen got the win. He's 5-2. 5-7, pardon me. Couldn't read Steve Hurt's handwriting.
Well, the Giants still looking for a bunt. In at third is Scarsoni. Will Clark way in at first base. And Dykstra showing no signs of a bunt there.
Did Lenny call you dude when you interviewed him yesterday? Everybody is dude.
He calls me dude, yes. Dude. Could be worse.
Yes. Oh, yes. Blowing in. 2-0 on Dykstra. As we were saying, right on cue. Actually, he doesn't call anyone dude, but we had a young man hired earlier in the day to come in with that dude sign. We just thought it would make for a cute little story. That's ball 3. Rogers is in danger of loading the bases with nobody out. Stalker at second. Jordan at first. Phil's up to 11 hits now. The 3-0. Not even close. And the bases are loaded with nobody out. Dusty Baker wants Manwaring by a little more time for the bullpen. He gave him the sign to go out and chat. Will Clark helping kill time as well.
Oh, the thing about the Giants bullpen, you only have Dave Righetti, the left-hander, who is there, and I think that's who the call is going to. There's Dave right there. All the other bullpenners are right-handed.
And Righetti will be summoned. Phil's with a chance to break it open with the bases loaded and nobody out, leading by 1 in the 8th.
Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away? Across the country?
Just ahead. Take next exit.
Without stopping for directions?
Route 101.
Or sent someone a fax? From the beach? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
How do you improve on 92's best baseball cards? You give them the same UV treatment, then add even more gold foil stamping. You dramatically improve the backs and set new standards for limited edition subsets with more intense action, higher impact design, electrifying graphics, and foil stamping on both sides. 93 Fleer Ultra. Proof you still can't buy a better baseball card.
What looks like evening shade is funny like evening shade, but isn't evening shade? Surprise! It's Harlan and Merlene. Premieres Monday after Evening Shade. A cool place to be.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball.
Today's game is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. Pert Plus shampoo and conditioner. Great hair, no fuss. And by Reebok, to remind you that life is short. Play hard.
And we hope you'll be tuned to CBS Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game from Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore. That's Tuesday night at 8, the All-Star Game here on CBS. And the new pitcher for San Francisco is the 34-year-old veteran Dave Righetti, who is throwing as well right now as at any point in his Giant tenure, says manager Dusty Baker. He has really pitched well lately.
Dusty telling us that, Dave came into the clubhouse several days during this recent homestand at Candlestick in sweats. And they said, where have you been? He said, working out, lifting weights. And Dusty took that as a sign of kind of a rededication to his career.
And he's getting the results as well. His first pitch, a swing and a miss from Morandini. It was 10 years and 6 days ago that Dave Righetti threw a no-hitter for the Yankees, July 4th of 1983, against the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium. Morandini drove in the run in the 6th that made it 4-3. That's where we stand in the 8th with the bases loaded and nobody out and the ball in the dirt. Dug out by Manwaring. Stalker, the runner, at third. He singled. Jordan is at second. He singled. Dykstra at first. He walked. Left-handed hitters have hit just 188 against Righetti this year. Morandini at the plate. Kruk on deck. And then the switch-hitting Hollins. Popped up and out of play into the crowd of nearly 42,000.
Tell you, it looks like there are 8 runners on base right now because the Giants have their infield in. If it weren't for the gray uniforms and the gloves, look at all the guys in the base pads on the infield right now. Giants cannot afford another run. They have to come home on a ball hit hard.
Mitch Williams has been warming up in the Philadelphia bullpen. He will likely be the pitcher when we go to the 9th. The 1-2 pitch, well hit to right by Morandini, over the head of Carrion and over the fence for a grand slam. First career grand slam for Mickey Morandini. It's just his 2nd home run of the season. And the Phillies have blown it open, 8-3.
A breaking ball from Dave Righetti right in the sweet zone. And Morandini, as the players say, he gets the head out. Only his 2nd home run of the year, and it's a grand slammer. Wow.
On a 1-2 pitch, Morandini slammed it over the right field fence. First career grand slam. And Righetti is greeted rudely by the Phils. Still nobody out. 3 of the 4 runs charged to Rogers. Kruk at the plate with a count of 1-1. John's 2 for 4 today, an RBI triple in the 1st inning. He singled to right in the 5th. 2 balls and a strike.
Only the 7th home run of his career for Mickey Morandini. And here's the same guy, speaking of unusual things, who pulled off an unassisted triple play last year. The first since 1969. So odd things do happen to Mickey Morandini. Odd good things. Dancing on the streets of Chicago today for Mickey Morandini. That's where his in-laws are watching today's game. Every reason to smile.
Morandini, much better known as a fielder. He had the second best fielding percentage in the league among second basemen last year, behind only the Gold Glove winner Jose Ling, then of the Pirates, now of the Kansas City Royals. So it's 8-3. After watching the Giants rock the ball around the park the last 2 nights, the Phillies earning a measure of revenge. Truck couldn't get to the high hard one. That's the first out of the inning. We're in the bottom of the 8th. The Phillies lead 8-3. And both teams have done their best over the past few days to downplay the idea that this series could be a preview of the National League Championship Series.
Well, it could be, but certainly no sure signs of that yet. St. Louis Cardinals have trimmed 6.5 games off the lead in about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And remember, 2 years ago, the Atlanta Braves 9.5 out behind the Los Angeles Dodgers at the All-Star break. And the Dodgers gave way the next to the last day of the season. Atlanta won it in '91, then went on to play Minnesota in the World Series.
If you're a Braves fan, though, you have to be real concerned this time around, because the Giants are the best hitting team in the league. Their pitching has been outstanding, second best in the league, and they're one of the best fielding teams in baseball. They're really not showing any signs of the kind of collapse that it might take to squander a 9-game lead, no matter how talented the club in pursuit is.
Of course, it can happen in a hurry. It can happen where all your departments break down. One department breaks down, then you have another injury. It breaks that department down. And then you have the other department trying to take up the hitting, trying to hit 5-run homers because you know your pitching's going to give up a lot of runs, that type of thing. Happens before you know it, before you're really prepared for it. The Atlanta Braves, on the other hand, have to start hitting the ball. They just have not hit the first half of the season.
No swing, said Jerry Lane upon appeal.
Had the best changeup of any pitcher I ever saw, Johnny Padres. Winner of Game 7, the Brooklyn Dodgers against the New York Yankees. He won 2-0. Told me a story once that Charlie Dressen, his manager and an ex-infielder, taught him the changeup. And Johnny Padres has had his hands in the makings of some terrific major league pitchers. Frank Viola, Mark Portugal.
Of course, that changeup so much a part of Viola's successes over the years. 2-2 on Hollins. He's 0 for 4 today. 1 out, and the base is empty in the bottom of the 8th, but 4 runs are in on the grand slam by Morandini. Scarsoni, 2 down. Just as it was rare Morandini to go deep, it is certainly news when Righetti gives up a grand slam. Over his long career, it's just the second home run with the bases full that Righetti has surrendered. The other one to George Bell, then of Toronto, back on June 20th of 1986. Darren Dalton 0 for 3. He walked in the 5th. The Giants have the bottom third of their order due up in the top of the 9th. Manwaring, then the pitcher, Righetti. Will undoubtedly be lifted for a pinch hitter, and Eric Johnson, the scheduled trio of Giant swingers in the 9th. Ball and a strike on Dalton. His teammates call him Dutch. In Shallow right. Carry on. Puts it away. The grand slam by Mickey Morandini makes it 8-3 Philadelphia as we go to the ninth.
To celebrate Buick's 90th anniversary, we proudly introduce the 90th anniversary LeSabre. LeSabre has a proven reputation for quality and the highest projected resale value in its class. Now, you get all this Buick quality, comfort, and elegance at a special anniversary price. The 90th anniversary Buick LeSabre. Quality its competition just can't hold a candle to.
It began for me when I saw Tony Dorsett in the Super Bowl. It began for me when I got the ring. For me, it's still the beginning.
The Reebok preseason shoe at Foot Locker, where it all begins.
Why use Valvoline Motor Oil? For their race cars and their own cars, Valvoline is the #1 choice of race mechanics, from Indy 500 to Daytona 500 to NHRA to Baja to SCCA.
While you weren't looking, something magical happened. The durability of an oil-based enamel and the easy cleanup of a latex came together. Hard to believe? Try it and see. New Duratex Colors enamels from Red Devil for the finish of a lifetime.
I can name that tune in 5 notes. Ah, they gave it away. And that's what they call him. Mitch Williams, the wild thing, on to try to finish off the Giants. It is not a save situation.
Mitch Williams with 23 saves on the season. His 35th appearance. And he is exciting. That's why his theme is the wild thing. You know, he has a tattoo of the Roadrunner on his right calf. And the reason he got that was his 2 brothers and father have cartoon characters tattooed to their right calves. I said,
okay,
well,
but
Mitch,
why the Roadrunner?
Well, there are other cartoon characters. I don't know. I mean, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I mean, there are more than 4 cartoon characters.
True, but
he
I mean,
could have had any. He could have had.
Well, I don't know why the Roadrunner. I guess he just liked the Roadrunner, but I do find it very odd. I said the Roadrunner. It's Speedy Gonzalez, actually. It's not the Roadrunner.
Okay.
So I think one of his brothers has that on his calf.
Okay, the Roadrunner. And he has Speedy Gonzalez. Now that we've settled that, the count is 1-1 on Manwaring, who was walked, single to right, and bounced to third.
I just find
it was
that
your daughter who corrected you.
That is my researcher.
Now
my
we want to know
chief
why
researcher
Kathy would know that.
Just happened to be talking about that today before the game.
Well, it's a 5-run game in the ninth, so I guess I can ask you this. Were you to put a cartoon character on your calf, who or what would it be?
Tweety Bird.
Two and 2 the count. It's an excellent. I'm quite a fan of Tweety Bird myself. That was an excellent choice. I think I would choose George Jetson, because I always wanted to have hair like George Jetson. First, I always wanted to have hair like just about anyone. Full count on Manwaring. Willie McGee is in the on-deck circle to bat. Still 3 and 2. McGee will bat for Righetti. There's Willie. And then Eric Johnson is the third scheduled hitter. Certainly not beyond the realm of possibility with the way the Giants have been hitting lately. They come up with 5 runs. Dykstra on the run in the gap makes the catch. The Chevrolet player of the game, big surprise here, is Mickey Morandini of the Philadelphia Phillies. His first career grand slam. A career high 5 runs batted in for Morandini. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in Mickey's name to the Special Olympics. And there's Mickey, who drove in the go-ahead run with his 6th inning single, made it 4-3, then he made it 8-3 with the grand slam in the 8th. McGee, big hack, and a foul tip into the mitt for strike 1. Willie, ordinarily the right fielder, but bothered by injuries of late. Off the bench today, hitting .339. Into your living room for strike 2. One out, bases empty, top of the 9th. It is 8-3 in favor of Philadelphia. Williams blew him away for the 2nd out of the inning. Tonight on CBS begins with Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. That's followed by the CBS Saturday movie, Miles from Nowhere. It all starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, right here on CBS. Eric Johnson came up for his 2nd at bat as a major leaguer in the 7th inning and doubled off the fence and left, picking up his first major league hit. Williams, who loses his balance after just about every pitch, has fallen behind 2-0. It was Williams who couldn't protect the lead Wednesday night in the 9th inning. Dodgers battled back to tie the game and wound up going 20 innings. Dykstra over to cut it off. Johnson with his team down by 5 took the chance and made it. So he has 2 major league hits, and both of them are doubles here this afternoon.
Pretty impressive by young Eric Johnson. He doubled off the wall in the 7th inning and now doubles to right center field.
He's in scoring position with 2 outs in the 9th. Williams in with a strike to Darren Lewis, who's 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt today.
Sean, you mentioned the 20-inning game the other night. That was Wednesday. The 2nd game of the doubleheader that ended at 4:40. Mitch Williams drove in the winning run. Jim Fregosi out of players in the 10th inning, and it was Williams who was the post-game show guest of Harry Callis's at 4:50 in the morning.
Now that's one time you could understand if a athlete blew off a member of the media for the post-game interview.
But he didn't.
It's also one time the radio station might have to say to the sponsor, hey, we're sorry, but common sense prevails. Johnson not only doesn't have his name on the back of his uniform, but he's wearing Greg Brummett's batting helmet. You saw when he was turned around, he had Brummett written across the back of the helmet. In this performance today, he'll get the name on his back pretty soon. Lewis fights it off to keep the Giants alive. This will be Tommy Green's 12th consecutive win at Veterans Stadium, and we'll find out which team will win the All-Star game. The American League has had the upper hand of late. The Major League All-Star game Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We hope you'll be with us here on CBS. Another 1-2 pitch. He struck him out. And the Phillies are in the win column in this series. Now for Tim McCarver, I'm Sean McDonough saying so long from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The final score, Philadelphia 8 and San Francisco 3. You've been watching Major League Baseball on CBS Sports, home of the biggest games in baseball. We'll see you Tuesday night from Baltimore with the All-Star Game.